Today is January the 7th or January the 8th. The lesson for today is on quadratic inequalities. I can solve quadratic inequalities by using tables, graphs, and algebraic methods. Okay, so we're going to start off with number 1, and I'm going to show you how to type that into the calculator. If you don't have a calculator, that's okay. Just look on with me here. So you have x squared. You have x squared. X squared plus 8x plus 20, and then we have y here. We're going y equals 5. So it says here, use a graphing calculator to graph each side of the inequality. So this would be the left side, and over here would be the right side. And then what we're going to do is we're going to set them equal to each other, but we want to see when x squared plus 8x plus 20 is greater than or equal to 5. So I'm going to go ahead and graph that. So you notice that these are the y values, and these are the y values, and you notice that between 1, 2, 3, -3, between -3 and 4, 5, 6, between -3 and 6, -3 and 6, it's below 5. So how would we write the answer? We would have to say that x has to be greater than or equal to. Now we look at our table. X is greater than or equal to -3. So you see here we have -3. And you notice that when x is -3, it's 5. It's equal to. So part of the solution will be when x is greater than -3. Greater than or equal. Because you see that -3, it's 5, and it's 5, and you notice that as you go -2, -1, you start going towards the right, you notice that the y value is greater. Now if you look at -5, at -5 it's 5 and 5, and then as we go to the left of -5, -6, -7, it does increase, the y does increase. So it's going to be x is less than or equal to -5. So this is the solution, okay? Now if you want to see it mathematically, it would be x is greater than or equal to -3, x is less than or equal to -5. Okay? So that's how you can solve it using a graph or table. So now we're going to go to the next example. There is a better way to do this, and I'm going to go ahead and show you right now. For example 2, we have x squared minus 10x plus 18 is less than or equal to -3 by, and we're going to use algebra. So what you're going to do is you're going to write it as a quadratic equation, and then you're going to solve it. So you notice the -3 cannot be on the right side. We have to add 3. So we have x squared minus 10x plus 21. We're going to factor. Remember, what are the factors of 21? You're going to go ahead and give me the factors of 21. Remember that are going to add up to give you -10. And you notice the only two factors are -3 and -7, because -3 plus -7 gives you -10. So that's how they came up with the factors. And then we set them equal to 0 and we know that x equals 3 and x equals 7. These are called critical values. And I'm going to tell you why they're called critical values. You're going to go ahead and draw a number line. You're going to write 3. You're going to write 7. And we are going to try to find the solution. We're going to try to find the solution when we're going to find the solution by testing points. We have 3. We know that 4 is here. 7. We know that 8 is here. And we know that 2 is here. So we're going to use the inequality to check the areas. In other words, we're going to check where is the solution, okay? Because there's more than one x value. So what you're going to do is you're going to substitute. So you have 2 squared minus 10 times 2 plus 18, and we're going to check if that's less than or equal to negative 3. We're going to check that. So let's go ahead and use a calculator. So here we go. We have 2 squared minus 10 times 2 plus 18. And what do we get? It's 2. And we know that 2 is not less than or equal to negative 3. What does that say? The answer is not going to be in this area. It's not the answer. So now we're going to check 8. Because 8 comes after 7. So we have 8 squared minus 10 times 8 plus 18. And we're going to check if that's less than or equal to negative 3. So come over here. So we have 8 squared minus 10 times 8 plus 18. Now, if this is an answer, it's going to have to be less than or equal to negative 3. Once again, we get 2. So I'm going to go ahead and use my highlighter. This is not the answer, and this is not the answer. So the only place that it could be an answer is between 3 and 7. Okay, and we're going to check using our calculator. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and check 4. And how do we check 4? You're going to substitute into the original inequality. So you have 4 squared minus 10 times 4 plus 18, and we're going to check if that's less than or equal to negative 3. And you notice I'm running out of room there. So what do we have? We have 4 squared minus 10 times 4 plus 18. And we're going to check if it's less than or equal to negative 3. And it is negative 6. So we know that negative 6 is less than or equal to negative 3. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and move this up so you can see it. We know that negative 6 is less than. So what does that mean? That means the answer is between 3. The answer is between 3 and 7. So x is greater than or equal to 3, and x is less than or equal to 7. That's our answer. We're going to do one on our own. We're going to work it out together, and I'm going to show you the steps. I'm going to go ahead and do this again. So let's go ahead and the next slide are those points that I was using, okay? The critical points. Okay, so it's a continuation of what we're doing. So here is the example that we're going to do. So let me rewrite the inequality. I would like for you to rewrite the inequality. We have x squared plus 5x plus 6 is less than 0. So the first step is you're going to write it as a quadratic equation. You're going to find those critical values. How do you find those critical values? You got to find, well, you got to solve for x. So you got to find the factors of 6. We're going to solve this by factoring. So we know it's going to be 2 and 3. So 2 plus 3 gives you 5. Isn't that what we have here in the middle? So what do we have as our factors? X plus 2 times x plus 3. And we said equal to 0. So we know that we have x plus 2 equals 0. X plus 3 equals 0. Subtract 2 from both sides. So we have x equals -2. Subtract 3 from both sides. So I have x equals -3. So these are the critical values. These are the critical values. Remember, since it's an inequality, it's going to be more than one answer. Understand that. Inequality more than one answer. So more than one answer can satisfy this inequality. So we're going to use a number line. We're going to use a number line. So we have -2. We have 0. We have 2. So I'm going to extend the number line. We have -3. So now we know that it will not be -2 or -3 because it's less than, or there's no equal. So now let's try 0, since 0 is in this area. 0 is over here. So let's try 0. It's on the right hand side. We got to check if this side of the number line, it could be an answer. Let's check. So what do we have? We have 0 squared, because I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to check 0. So I'm going to substitute into the inequality. 0 squared plus 5 times 0 plus 6. And you need to ask yourself, is that less than 0? So 0, 0, so you're left with 6 is less than 0. So this is not an answer. Everything to the right of -2 will not be an answer. Just because, since 0 is not an answer, then none of these are an answer. Okay. So now we're going to go ahead and check to the left of -3. So let's try -3.5. Or let's try -4. Probably better to check -4. So we're going to check -4. And if -4 is an answer, then we're going to say that side is an answer. But if it's not, then we know that all that side, the left side of -3 won't be an answer. -4 squared plus 5 times -4 plus 6. And we're going to check if that's going to be less than 0. So we go to our calculator, since we're dealing with a higher number. So we have -4 squared plus 5 times -4 plus 6. It's saying that 2 is less than 0, which is not true. It's not true. So the answer has to fall between -3 and -2. So let's pick a number that is between that. We'll check -2.5. Because we know that -2.5 falls in between the two. So we have -2.5 squared plus 5 times -2.5 plus 6, and we're going to check if that's less than 0. parentheses, negative 2.5 squared plus 5 times negative 2.5 plus 6. And let's see what happens. It's negative 0.5, and that is negative 0.25, and that is less than negative 0.25. It is less than 0. That's true. So your answer will be x is greater than negative 3 and x is less than negative 2.